Well, here we go. Doing some more stuff I barely do, but getting better at by the day. Yeah, that didn't work. Alright guys, so the Sniper 2 showed up. I've got everything in here, and the column is back in, which means I can put the other HVAC back in over here. You heard the Sniper click, maybe you didn't, but we are all up and loaded with a bass tune in it. I still need to do battery cables to the starter, run my power cable down to the fuel pump, which I still have not mounted yet, along with, instead of using the regulator up on the wall, firewall that they give you, I am going with, here it is, I'm going to go with your normal Corvette 60 psi, 58 psi, whatever it is, fuel filter regulator. I've got regular high pressure hose going to the back here, which is going to get clamped on with some outer clamps, and the front we're going to run braided up to the Sniper, because I would rather do that with a single line than run a dual line up here with a return, that whole 9 yards. I've got our throttle bracket on here, if you can see that. I've got to put our adapters on there to hold the throttle cable and the TV cable. And what else we got? I don't know if the fender well was in last time when the video was going, but we have some other stuff ordered. I've got my stuff ordered for my low pressure switch. Got a whole bunch of AN fittings, so we have these for the transmission cooler off of the radiator, and then I have these for right off of the transmission, because we're going to be running AN lines, 6 AN to the transmission cooler and stuff. And is that empty box? Right now I am going to get back on the Camaro, because I've got the new transmission tunnel is in. We have kill mat and then DEI mat the tunnel to keep as much heat out as possible. This is overkill, because I am 100% positive that the big giant hole that was in the side of the tunnel was where all of the hot air was coming in, but figured we'd do this anyways. We've got to get the trim ring that mounts around here to sandwich this down, and then I can throw the front carpet in, cut the hole, throw the front carpet in, and start throwing the interior back in. We still do not have the seats. The seats are not back yet, but they are on the way. And we also have the full Ride Tech front and rear suspension, rear consisting of coilovers and a 4-link, coming for this vehicle. So that's going to be a fun little series putting that in, because I haven't done that yet. It's predominantly bolt-in, except for the upper 4 links. You do have to weld those brackets onto the axle tubes, but they give you templates and spacers and everything you need to basically drop it on and weld it in there. We also did get our new transmission for the wiper system. Unfortunately the bolts are not here, so we'll have to grab those. We left them at the other shop, and the wiper motor should be back by this weekend from getting refinished. And that's about it for right now. Oh, you're not even looking at me, look at that. Oh, I don't know if I showed you either. The speaker box came in. The amp is here. This is that nice slimline speaker box that I found. Fits perfectly right through here, so we don't have to worry about having the seat too far forward, because this will go all the way back to where it's supposed to go. Also, I'm getting a new ignition switch, new turn signal switch, because they were just all crudded up, not worth trying to rebuild or clean. But as of right now, oh, actually what I'm going to do right now is we also got, I don't know where I put it. I'll have to find it. It's in one of the other boxes, but I got my 1/2 inch to 3/8 NPT reducer for my coolant temp sensor. So I'm going to get that done now, because once that's done, everything in this general area is done. So I can throw the battery tray in, which has now been painted and ready to go. Put the battery in and start making some cables. And I think we are still waiting on the starter to get here too. We're going with getting rid of the big canister style, and if you want to go with the smaller, lighter, better starter, like a 2000 1500 pickup Silverado 4.3 V6 starter. We'll bolt right onto these small block Chevys. We'll bolt onto most of the big block Chevys too, depending on which flywheel you have. I forget which one, because there's 2 different sizes tooth-wise on the flywheels, and it only fits one or the other. But yeah, so I'm going to get that coolant temp sensor in there now, and then we'll jump around from project to project. Alright, so that's it for today. Sniper is on, throttle linkage is all done. Tomorrow I'm going to start making my spark plug wires, and then we'll go from there. I don't know if I have my power hooked up. Hold on one sec. Alright, the power's hooked up now. So now we can key it on. Everything's on. Screen. Alright, yeah. So throttle linkage is all good. Everything's reading that should be reading right now. The only gauge that's not hooked up is my fuel gauge, because I haven't gotten underneath and done those wires yet, because that's part of my rear wiring harness. It's down one of these two, and that's about it for today. I got the rear section of the carpet in on the Camaro. The front section will get in tomorrow. We still don't have the seats back for this yet. They're being recovered, and then we'll start moving on to some other stuff, because as soon as this one is out of here, the 92 Chevy is coming in to get its sniper and fuel system and everything, and then that XR7 Cougar got dropped off back there for me to get all the Windows stuff installed and aligned, and then, if his budget allows, interior wiring. That's actually a really nice put together car. We'll do more on that at another time. But yeah, this was a super short video today, because I've literally jumped around to everything, so I just tried to maximize my time and get everything done. But we'll see. We'll get some more videos, stuff, coverage tomorrow, and hopefully get the center console back into the Camaro, and that'll be cool. Alright, good morning guys. We're going to continue on from where we left off yesterday. Getting some more stuff bolted in over there, getting some interior stuff bolted in. This morning, Boss Man dropped off a ton of our interior trim for this truck. Door panels, the dashboard is over there. Everything is here now. We can start assembling it. I don't know if I'm going to get to that today, or I'm going to continue doing the small stuff I'm doing, but we did get the front section of the carpeting in for the Camaro. So what I'm going to do now is close my doors, close my windows, put my heater on, let this thing warm up and form down, because it's pretty cold. It's been sitting in a box, and it's not exactly summertime in here. So we'll let that warm up for a while so everything fits down and forms in nicely, and then I'll start trimming stuff to fit my door sills back in, tuck it under the kick panels, and eventually tomorrow, I believe, our trim plate for this, so this will clamp down good, and then I can put the center console in after I punch my holes back through, and we will be just about done for this in enough time for the complete front and rear Ride-Tech suspension to get here. But I am going to take a look over at the truck now, turn this heater on, take a look over there and see what I can get to. Oh, the radio stuff's here, so I can put the radio in the dash. So that's what we'll do right now, and then we'll go from there. Alright, what we're doing for speakers in this thing. Obviously, we've got this Rockwood Fosgate box. I'll put a link to it up here. It's just a slimline, normal truck box, 10-inch speaker. Dual 4-ohm voice coil wired in 2 ohms. Then we have this component set up that's going to go in the factory location up there. Kicker. These are what? CSC 3.5s. Then we have CSC, what are these? CSC4s? Yeah, CSC4s that are going in our lower kick panel. I'm gonna drill and attach these in here now, and then they're not here yet, but it's gonna be whatever version of these kickers for 6x9s that go in the plates on each side in the back here. So today I'm gonna get this mounted. I'm gonna get those speakers mounted in the pod. So we're not mounting the kick panels yet because we got to put the carpet and everything in first. And I'll get the radio in. The radio is a custom auto sound unit down here. I'll unbox that in a minute, but it's just made to look like a factory radio, but it has Bluetooth, aux in, USB in, all that good stuff, like everything a modern radio has. But let me get some stuff mounted up on those, and then I'll be back. Alright, got these all mounted in here. I like how they came out. They sit like this in the vehicle, so it's going to look nice. I also put together our freshly painted recirculation door. Got that all set for the passenger side kick panel. I'm going to unbox the radio, but one thing I've got to look up first is whether or not this unit is top mounted on the dash or bottom mounted for clearance, and the main factor of that will be the amount of room underneath this dash pad. I'm currently letting this dash pad dry because we touched up a couple spots that it had. It's a new dash pad, but it's, you know, during shipping and stuff rubs, so we've got the correct color dye to touch it all up. And looking under here, I'm gonna guess I'm gonna have to bottom mount that speaker, because top mount, these things pull it right down to the dash itself, to the metal section. So that means I have to go back in now and pull out my upper HVAC tube so that I can get in here and slide the speakers in there and then bolt everything in there. Not ideal, but not horrible. I always love coming over here and turning the key on and seeing everything powered up and working. It's so nice. It's going to be even better with the radio in here. So let me get those speakers mounted up there, then we'll unbox the radio and start putting little by little putting pieces in here, because Noah still has to wet sand this truck, so I don't want to be putting the door mechanisms and stuff in. I put the outside handles on just because I had to do some modifications to get full throw on this button, because they're aftermarket handles and they were hitting inside as they usually do. So I had to do a little bit of clearancing on the handle mechanisms themselves, but now they're in there and we have full throw. Everything is good on them. But yeah, so I don't want to get too much of the outside stuff done because, like I said, he still has a bunch of sanding he's got to do. And we're waiting for a new power steering pump to get here, because this one has a leak at the front seal. I believe this was the original pump that came with the vehicle. It's not original to the vehicle, but original it came with the vehicle. So we're just going to replace the pump. They're cheap enough. They're 150 bucks or whatever for a whole new pump. So let me get to figuring out some stuff up there. All right, we're back in together. Bolted from underneath. Everything, ooh, almost dropped the camera. Everything is bolted back in good. All my lighting, I had to run this harness because it wouldn't fit in there snugly for some reason. This is the radio we're using. So this is from Custom Auto Sound, and like I told you, it's just a factory looking radio that has all the conveniences of current day stuff. It's got your USB input. You can do it with steering wheel controls. You can have a rear camera if you want. It's got an antenna input here. I should really be watching what I'm doing. And 3 sets of preamp outputs, which is good, because we will be using all 3 sets of those. These are the 2 cables that come with it. One is all your power stuff. The other one is all your speaker stuff. We won't be running speaker level inputs. Gives you your mounting strap, all your knobs, all that stuff, your instructions. It comes with a speaker because you can do voice control, Bluetooth stuff, whatever. We don't ever use any of that stuff. So I am going to get this wired in for my illumination, battery power, switched power, and ground. And I'm going to start running. We've got a 6-pack of, I believe, 17-foot long is what I got. Yeah, 17-foot long 2-channel RCA cables. And I got 17-foot long because I'm going to run them from the radio over down the sill panels and to the amp instead of running them straight back like that, because I don't want to create a big hump underneath the carpet. There's no need for it. They do make 6-way ones that are all fused together in a nice flat ribbon, but even that is still, it's a 1/4 inch, you know, jump, and I just don't feel like doing that. We did that in chili pepper and it worked out all right because we put extra jute on the sides of it, so it just kind of made it look like it had more of a hump than the normal tunnel did. It worked out good, but it's always just better to run them along the outside edge. I will probably, I'm going to see if I can run them all that way. I might not be able to. I might have to separate them up and run 1 or 2 that way and then the remaining 1 or 2 this way, just because I want everything to be clean and under the carpet. All right, let's see where I got. Whoa, there's an IPC in this thing now. So it was a lot of trial and error to get this the right depth. I had to open up this hole a little bit because, you know, aftermarket stuff, it always happens. Radio's aftermarket. This is aftermarket, but it's a factory reproduction. And then I had to do some tweaking of the dash because I think the steel structure was a little bit bent. But we are all on and powered now. I already changed the color of this. Its factory default is white, so I changed it to red to match the gauges, because when our lights are on, they're red. One thing I did notice about this radio, this one doesn't have a illumination wire to dim when you turn on your other lights, but I mean, it doesn't matter. It's not blinding. And it did take some moving around to get this thing bolted in to everywhere it was supposed to be bolted in. These couple of holes that aren't used will be bolted into the dash panel that's over there. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I gotta find where our undercover panel is for here, but we're not even to that point yet because I have to put in that HVAC and we're waiting for our Prindle to get here. We're using the stock Prindle, does bolt onto the Dakota Digital setup, and it runs by putting a little cable wire on here and it pulls the finger back and forth. But we had 2 sets, one that came out of this truck, one that came out of another truck. The other truck, unfortunately, was a 4-speed overdrive. This is a 3-speed, and the one that was in this one, the pointer finger was broken, so we're just getting a new one. It's no big deal. All right, we've jumped back over to the Camaro. I am getting my driver's side seat brackets in so we can sandwich this carpet down, and I'm going to start doing some trimming so we could fit our sill panels back in and tuck this under the kick panel, cut my hole for the dimmer switch. Only this side has seat brackets. The owner of this car is very tall, so we needed to move the seat back, you know, that much, about 4 inches, and it fits him good, and all the way forward it fits my short 5'9" ass. So we're going to start getting that done, because before I run my RCA cables in that, my preamp outputs, I wanted to get this done because the seats should be back for this very soon. And once the seats are back, we could throw those in. The interior is 100% finished, and we can move this over so I can get to the 92, because the Ride Tech stuff is not here yet for this still, so there's no reason for this to be taking up a lift. Okay, so my seat brackets are in and fully bolted down on that side. My holes for the stock seat mounting are all located, you know, burned, and screws are in. What I'm working on now is trimming the excess and tucking it under the kick panels and the B-trim pillar. the B trims are pretty easy. The kick panels are not. I am going to unscrew the kick panel and pull it out so I can tuck as much of this carpet up in there as needed, because, you know, as it settles, people kick their feet or whenever it pulls a little bit, and you don't want it to pull it out from under there. So if I got a good 1.5 to 2 inches of carpet up in there, it ain't gonna go anywhere, and it's good. So I just got to take a few bolts out or a few screws out and pull this panel out and tuck this carpet under, and then I can finish bolt our sill plates back in again, and we are almost done for the interior. I really wish I could put my center console in, but I can't until we get the trim ring for this thing so we can bolt that down fully. There should be a night and day difference between sound and temperature, because as you saw, that hole in that thing was enormous. Half of the tranny tunnel was missing because somebody decided to hack it out to change the shifter instead of just taking the 20 minutes it takes to pull a Muncie transmission out of these cars. It's like no time flat. All right, so I'm gonna pull this kick panel off and do some tucking on this carpet. All right, guys, not too shabby. A little dirty from my feet, but that can be vacuumed. But it's all together. Sill plates are in, carpet's in. I fit the console back in because I did not realize that the piece that was cut out for the patch panel also included the 2 holes for the front locators of the or fasteners for the center console. So I set that all up in there, got my holes done and everything. So this is just sitting on there right now. It's not bolted on because, like I said, I'm not bolting it on until we get that last piece for the shifter. But we are all on right now, and German neutral. We're good to go gauge wise. Everything is in there and good. Let's see if it starts up or if I've keyed it on too many times and now it's flooded. Yep, flooded. There we go. We are fully together. So, shut the lights off. That is, with the exception of the seats, that is the interior done on the 68 Camaro. I believe the seats may be here tomorrow. I might actually elongate this hole side to side in the rear. That's the factory hole that was there, and I think we need to bring the console over that way just a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy with how everything looks in that, and the amount of stuff that I got done inside here today. So I mean, it looks good. I'm okay with it. It's a decent amount of work. I've got about an hour left today, so I think I'm going to start running those cables and run my remote wire for the amp, and then we'll go from there. Guys, so I didn't realize it was like 10 to 4, so I don't have time to do anything else. Let me give you an update on this 83 square body we've got sitting here. So this hunk of metal that is now not going to the junkyard is going to be a project that we're doing. I don't know when we're going to start it. I don't know when it's going to be finished. I don't know what the projected date is. I do know Saturday, Boss Man is taking this out of here to bring to his garage for storage. Or actually, no, sorry, it's going to Paint Guy. So what this is going to be, this truck came with, over there you got all those Ride Tech boxes, came with a complete Ride Tech front and rear suspension. Ride Tech Leaps in the back, not their 4-link, but complete front suspension, upper and lowers. I forget if it's got coilovers or if they're doing springs and shocks. I believe it's coilovers. This engine's not staying. This is a small block, unknown. I don't know anything about it. But the guy that's doing the paint is taking, I believe, the engine and the transmission, and then he's taking those and some money to do all the paint. The plan for this truck is very nice. I like it a lot. We are doing this in GM paint code 503 teal, I believe it is. It's an older mid-60s color. You see it on a lot of Impalas and stuff. It's a beautiful color. We also have some wheels that came with it. I will give you the rundown on what this truck is going to look like. I came up with a bunch of suggestions for it, and the boss man liked them all, so I think we're doing all of them. One is filling everything, shaving all holes, no drip rails on this. Came with these wheels that are nice wheels. I forget what brand they are, but they're not too cheap, but they need to be blasted and painted. So what we're going to do is blast them and do the barrels, either a powder coat chrome, I forget who makes it, Prismatic I believe makes a really nice one, and do the insides the gold color of the bow tie that's on the grill, and it's gonna look super sweet. Let me go find out the name of the truck that we're modeling it after. All right, I found it. If you look up Jeff Andrews C10, it should pull it right up. It's a beautiful truck. The interior we're probably going to do exactly the same as what they have there, those colors. The only thing we're not going to do is it has air ride in the ashtray. We're going to do the same wireless charger that we're doing in the 75 K10 on it. But this came with a boatload, and I mean a boatload of parts. And we're going to do the 86 front grille. We're going to do, there's an LMC bumper that moves your directionals out of the grill and puts them down in the bumper. It looks really nice. Summit roll pan. We're going to be getting rid of this trailer hitch, obviously. But yeah, this thing is, it's not, oh, there we go, not really an amazing vehicle. So, but it will be when we're done with it. So that is that. Noah is wet sanding the tailgate currently to the 75. This Cougar showed up. I don't know if I've showed you this yet. It's got a 347 stroker from Blueprint Engines, Sniper, bunch of stuff. The guy's done really good on it, but he's going to have me put in all the window glass, channels, felts, weather strips, all that stuff. And if his budget allows, we're going to be doing some of the interior wiring as well. He's got the whole engine bay wired. It does run, but he needs to wire up all the gauges. He's got vintage air in it, wire that up. But that will be after the 92. I need to get going on the 92, and that will be after Saturday when this thing gets taken out and we can move stuff around and put this on this lift. So I won't really need a lift for it until I got to pull the bed off to do the fuel system. But I still want it over here because I'm going to be pulling the intake off. We've got intake, sniper, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot going on this truck where I'm eliminating all of this emission stuff. Basically all the wiring that's up here, gone. There's no need for it. All the vacuum lines, all that stuff. Everything, the entire engine is going to be controlled by the Sniper. It's a standard, so we don't have to worry about any transmission stuff. The factory gauge senders are still going to be in here, so the whole cluster will still work as is. And from as far as I have read this year, with the VSS module that it has, cruise control will still be operational, because it was the year or two after this. Right now the vehicle speed sensor goes up to the VSS module, so that'll still control it, no problem. There was something about it goes directly to the IPC or something, and after that, and it doesn't work, or it gets funky or whatever. So it'll be doing, it'll be running good. It's nothing special. It's just a 350 small block. Nothing special inside either. Just pretty much bone stock with the addition of a screen over there. But we will be doing this one, and this one is not getting a PDM. This one is getting Sniper and Hyperspark, but no PDM. But it is past 4 o'clock now, and I gotta get out of here. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and we will start on those RCA cables and get some more speaker stuff wired, and I will figure out what else we can do until Saturday when we get this out of here and we can really go gung-ho on that 92. Whoa, whoa, we're up in the air. Good morning, ladies and gents. Things might look a little different. Might actually sound a little different too, because I finally got a working DJI mic back after the second repair attempt. They just replaced it altogether under warranty. So the K10 is up in the air. We played musical Jenga with the cars and moved everything around. So the 92 is over here. The 83, like I said, is leaving Saturday to go to paint. And the Camaro doesn't need to be on the lift anymore, so that's backed up. We're just literally waiting for the seats. And I believe that's it now. Oh, the suspension stuff, yeah. But for the interior, just the seats. And I can throw those back in. The interior is 100% done. What I'm working on today is the fuel system for the K10. So this is my fuel level sender wire. I have not run my wires back here yet for the lighting. The rear lights, the fuel level sender is bundled in with that. The rear light wiring is going to run all the way down this driver's side frame rail, and somewhere back here, probably actually right here at the back of the cab, I will break out the wire for the fuel level sender and bring it over there and terminate it with the clip to fit this. I will tell you, it's been a breath of fresh air to wire this project from start to finish, because I can wire it how I want to do it, which is the correct way, and have everything done neatly and not just stuff put all over the place and not run correctly and harnesses taped up that shouldn't be taped up and stuff like that. Right now I'm figuring out a mounting location in this area for both my Holley fuel pump. We're doing the frame mounted pump on this truck because we opt to do that instead of doing a in-tank returnless. And then instead of running a fuel regulator up there, we're using the old tried and true Corvette fuel pressure regulator / fuel filter. So I'm just trying to figure out now, I'm doing a layout, trying to figure out where I'm going to mount all this stuff. I'm going to bring my supply and return hose down here and just kind of map it all out and figure out where I want to put this stuff. All right, so here's what I ended up going with for fuel pump mounting. It's right there. It ain't the prettiest, but it works. There really is not a lot of real estate on this frame because of the brake lines and whatnot. I still got to tie all my hoses up and get rid of them out of the way of everything. And that's where I put my Corvette fuel pressure regulator. Like I said in the other video, we were just doing normal high pressure fuel hose up to the regulator, and then out of the regulator up to the sniper we were going to do some braided stuff. It's just the fabric braided Earl's Vapor Lock stuff. It's not steel braided. It just looks better when you get up there. But I am now going to cut this blue wire and terminate it with the terminals they give me for my fuel pump and make my ground, and then tie all this loose hoses up to the frame. And then we're going to key it on and see if the fuel pump comes on. And if it does, I'm going to go down the street and get some gas so we can prime the whole thing and make sure there's no leaks. All right, guys, we are all wired in. I've got my other mic sitting on the frame over there in case the fuel pump isn't loud enough to hear over here. I'm not fully plumbed up to the sniper yet. I just want to key this on and make sure the electrical side of it is working. Then we will plumb it up there, then go get some fuel and pressure test it. So let's see if I can hear it. So, right. Oh yeah. Sweet. All right. So that's good. Sniper fuel pump is running. Time to finish plummet to the sniper and go get some fuel and make sure there's no leaks. All right, guys. Fuel line is run. Nothing special. Just simple kind of stock location, small blockish, whatever, years and stuff, yeah. I was thinking today, I was like, crap, I could make my spark plug wires, put my plugs back in, and we could fire this thing up today after I weld in the O2 sensor bung. Then I realized we still don't have a starter yet. I got to find out where that is. But I did throw a jumper on my fuel gauge wire because I want to do 2 checks here. I want to check and see if this thing primes and doesn't leak, and I want to check the fuel gauge. So we're going to turn her on. I can hear it running and priming. Let's take a look. I don't see any drops here. I don't see any drops anywhere underneath. I will put it up in the air and do a thorough check after. But the other thing I wanted to check, so this has a 16-gallon tank. I went out and just grabbed 4 gallons of fuel and dumped it in. So we should have a quarter tank. And we have a quarter tank. So everything is calibrated, ready to go. My level sender is working correctly. Pretty awesome. So I'm going to key this thing on and off about another, I don't know, 5-6 times, and then put it up in the air and check for any leaks and make sure my throttle plate blades in the Sniper are wet from the little pulse fuel that it does for cold start. So then I will put the plugs back in. Actually, I'll put it up in the air and see if there's any. Oh, you know, I got to tighten up my U-joints, all the bolts for the U-joints, and maybe I'll break the welder out and finish weld the exhaust. I think that's what I'll do, get that done. Put the O2 sensor bung in as well. Well, here we go. Doing some more stuff I barely do, but getting better at by the day. Yeah, that didn't work. Alrighty. Never said I was a welder, but they're welded. Is it the most beautiful welds in the world? No. Are they structurally sound and passable? Yes. So now I'm going to drill the hole, or I'm going to figure out where I want to put my wideband, drill the hole, weld in the, what do you call that thing? Bung. Weld in the bung for that. And then we can put it down and figure out what I got to do from here. What time is it? It's 2:30. Yeah, I got another hour and a half, 2 hours worth of work, so I'll figure something out. Like I said, I'm not a professional, but I can get it done. Go ahead, roast me in the comments. Surprisingly, the top of that is the best section of my weld, which is the hardest part to weld it. Go figure. All right, so I accomplished everything I needed to accomplish under here. Hold on a second. I think I got to sneeze. God damn it. Now I don't. Now I do. Oh, don't you hate that? Never mind. So, if you know me, you know now it's time to clean. There it is. Jesus. Because there's just way too much clutter and trash on the floor, and I can get rid of that factory harness now that's over there because I've got everything off of it that I needed for on here. So I'm going to do some sweeping and cleaning before I put this down and start doing some stuff up top. All right, people, that's going to mark the end of today. Probably going to be a lot of short videos mixed into this one. I started running my RCA cables. I'm looking at the back of the radio and something struck me. So there's 3 sets of RCA jacks on the back of this radio. So you would figure a front channel, a rear channel, and subwoofer. Not on this radio. So I had to take a picture because I couldn't get up in there with my head to see. But we have a front and a rear output. This other one is an auxiliary in. Are we really, in 2025, having RCA aux in? Come on. Bluetooth, for Christ's sake. This radio has Bluetooth. It does have a subwoofer RCA output, but it's a single wire. So we're going to get a Y splitter to do that to both channels of the subwoofer channel, and then we'll be good for that. everything worked out good today. Fuel system is awesome. There's no leaks. I actually, off camera, updated the firmware on the handheld so that I can plug it into the laptop tuning software when we get to that point. I think tomorrow, in between doing some other stuff, we're going to put the plugs back in, clean them and put them in. They're new, they've just been sitting, and make my spark plug wires. So when the starter does get here, we can crank this thing, well, after I make a starter cable, we can crank this thing right over and get it running. So a lot of stuff got done today. You got to watch me weld as crappy as I do. Other than that, that's it for today. I got leftover Chinese food I'm going to go home and eat. And then I will see you guys tomorrow. All right, ladies and gents, next day. I did my PCV line. I did my brake hose line. I had to get some 3/16 vacuum line because we need to do the advance for the distributor. We need to bring one over to my vacuum canister for all my HVAC and one down to the transmission on that accumulator valve thingamajiggy. So I'm going to bolt in my wipers today. The wiper motor is getting refinished again. They weren't happy with the first come out of it. I also put in my cluster vent there and there just to see how everything fit, and it all looks good. We're almost ready to throw this stuff back in, but for right now I am actually going to put the truck back up because I forgot to put my transmission case AN adapters on. Okay, those are in. If you want a link to these and the corresponding ones that mount up on the radiator, I will put a link in the description because they weren't hard to find. You just had to sift through a ton of stuff to be able to find them. So I figure I'll make it easier for the next guy and give you a link to them. I guess we will start on putting the spark plugs back in and making up some spark plug wires. All right, we got spark plug wires and the plugs are in. So on to the next thing. All right, ladies and gents, it looks like it's time to install this. I am pretty sure I have everything in here that I need to have in here to install that. I just have to remove the IPC trim again because the dash will go in and then that will go into it. But yeah, I think we're ready to go. So let's get to it. All right, let's take this thing out. Let's go get the dash pad. All right, now I gotta walk this thing over there and line it up. This is gonna be fun. Okay, what's my best plan of attack? Maybe slide it up on here and then jump in the truck. I don't know, we'll see. I'm gonna put it right here. Right there, now I'm gonna jump in. All right. Oh, hey, funny meeting you there. All right. Let's see if I can do this without swearing. Let's get that side first, because that has, there we go. That has my vent. Oh yeah, that was totally fun. All right, now let me get in here and see if I can get these tabs to line up. Where are they? All right, so that side's in. I don't even know if I can see this side. There's a lot of stuff in here, let me tell you. Let's see if I can feel these. Hey, how you doing? Let's see if I can feel these ones. Oh, I can't feel them. Oh, you know what? I think I can see them through my defrost areas. There's one. All right, they're in. They're in. Well, hello. Whew. All right. Job well done. We are in. So now I am going to put the cluster panel back in, put in my couple of holes up here that I didn't have any hardware in yet because now we have this in, and then get that HVAC tube on there and get going. All right, so I'll be right back. Well, that was a major pain in the butt. Oh, thank God, it's just dirt. As it usually is to put these things in, because they never go in, you know, how they came out and everything. It's always just a battle, and it was. So, but it's in, and all my vents are in, and everything's good now, so the only thing I'll have to do is take this IPC off one more time to put our Prindle in when that does get here. Hopefully that gets here right when my turn signal switch gets here, because that means this will be 100% done, this will be 100% done. I can throw that other HVAC ductwork in that goes over to this vent. It'll be good. And then little by little, the interior is going to be 100% done, or the dash at least. And with that, it is 3:30, and I've got to start cleaning up, and it's time for the weekend. I will see you guys next week, and we will continue on with this. And finally, as you can see, the 92 is up in the air. We are getting started on that. And with that, I am going to make it its own video, because there's quite a few things going on with that, with putting the sniper in and making it work with the 92 electronics, keeping all the gauges functional, hopefully keeping the cruise control functional. And I'll be doing an in-tank pump install, taking the bed off. So I'll go through quite a few things to get that thing going. But as of right now, that's a good looking dash.